Good morning, I'm Isaiah Jacob. Ohio State is finalizing a deal to make former Pittsburgh Steelers play caller Arthur Smith their offensive coordinator. Smith spent the last 2 seasons with the Steelers under coach Mike Tomlin. Before that, he was the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. He compiled a record of 21-30 over 3 seasons. This Steelers ranked 15th in the NFL, averaging 22 points a game. In the NFL, the Steelers have verbally agreed to make Mike McCarthy their next head coach. The 62-year-old Pittsburgh native becomes just their 4th head coach since 1969. And then today in NFL postseason play at 3 p.m., Drake May and the New England Patriots head out to Denver to take on Jarrett Stidham and the Denver Broncos. Then at 6:30, Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks host Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
This is the show that allows you to be the star. This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Oh, good. Snowy Sunday morning. Hopefully everybody has survived the snowfall so far and you are warm inside your houses, not out driving in this. Listening to the Fan Call-In Show. We want to hear from you. 614-821-9710 is the number to call. And boy, is there a lot to talk about. I am Ryan Baker. In for Scotty Vegas, he is Dave Biddle. You heard Isaiah Jacob on the update there. Bids, how was your drive in this morning?
It was sketchy, but we made it. I think my high speed on I-70 coming in from beautiful Hilliard was about maybe 32. I think we might have got up to 35 at one point, cruising at 35.
So you and I basically have the same drive. I was out there just a little bit before you this morning. I told you I got to 45 twice today on my way in. Most of the way it was 40. And I will say the one time I looked down and saw 45, I was like, this might be a little too fast. Luckily, obviously, nobody around at that time, but I did tone it down a little bit there. One person did fly past me as I was getting on to 670, and they got off the same ramp here as me, and they did it probably about, 15 seconds faster. So they did come flying by me in the truck, though. But just if you do have to go out, which they are urging you not to unless you need to, please be safe. What do you think? They were saying Hilliard, which is where we both live, had about 6 inches. I think it was more like 8 inches out there shoveling this morning.
Definitely. It was, I think, at least 8 inches. I saw somebody on the news actually had a measuring stick out and had a ruler out, and it was 8 inches. And it's still coming down. Right before I left, they said, do not leave your house and drive unless absolutely necessary. I said, I think a radio show is absolutely necessary. So here we are.
Well, if I remember correctly, back in the days of COVID, when none of us were supposed to leave our houses, media was essential. So I think, us being here is okay if we got pulled over or whatnot.
Well, the interesting thing was I almost stayed home, and I have what's called a Comrex machine for the good people out there. You can do shows at home, and I haven't had one of those since COVID. I had one the entire most of 2020 and then a little bit into 2021. I can't remember when we came back to the studio here, but I had that for a full year. I was doing shows in my basement, so I was doing On the Money every week in the basement. And then when I filled in on shows, like I hosted Bishop and Laurinaitis at the time, because I was filling in for Bo, and I had James Laurinaitis with me doing the show from my basement. So it was like a weird flashback setting up the Comrex. And despite having that, Ryan, I drove in. And that wasn't a very intelligent decision by me.
Well, nobody accused any of us of ever being the smartest. I will say this. It snowed so much, I've got pants on. I have always said that I'll throw the pants on if the snow is coming over and into my shoes. I think we did that plus some today. So we had to throw the pants on when we were out there shoveling this morning and getting in here. But again, hopefully you are warm. Hopefully you're safe. And we want to hear from you. 614-821-9710. You can also hit us up over on the YouTube chat. Just search 971. The Fan on YouTube, and all of our shows will be there. Phil J chiming in already this morning. He's in the plow truck today, so he's out there keeping us safe. I hope you're not
He's
chatting on the YouTube
he's
while
in the
you're
YouTube
driving.
Chat.
the truck. Hopefully that was just at a quick break. And
No
then
wonder
he's
the roads are
back
so
at
bad.
it.
Goodness gracious.
How was your drive in, Isaiah?
It wasn't too bad. I live super close to the station, so it wasn't like I didn't have to get on the highway or anything, but my truck wouldn't switch into four-wheel drive. So this morning when I was waking up, I wasn't like that worried about getting here because I was like, oh, I'll put my truck in four-wheel drive. I'll get here pretty easy. As soon as I go to switch it, it's all cold and isn't trying to switch over, so I was just tail whipping the whole way. It was pretty rough.
You had people trying to like go around you and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, like calm down. I had somebody when I was on the highway, I was behind. There was 3 cars, and I was in the back, and like probably going a little too slow, but I was perfectly fine with that. We're on 70, going about maybe 25 miles an hour, 28, and some dude in a Jeep decides he's going to try and go around us on the right. And like, and there was really no path, and he's like coming up, and then he about spins out, then he decides, maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm like, exactly. This is the thing. Like, I wasn't worried about me driving in. I was worried about idiots like that guy spinning out and like flying into me, and he almost did. But yeah, be safe out there. Be safe out there, my friends.
Speaking of Jeeps, we kind of take this for granted, right? Like, you and I, we grew up in Ohio, so we're used to driving in snow in the winter, and it's never easy, and it doesn't mean you can drive reckless, but we've done this a lot.
Our entire lives, yeah.
10 TV's Nicole Sheeran, who it's all hands on deck here at 10 TV right now as well, with everybody covering the weather. We just saw her out there. She's in here. She's like, I've never driven in anything like that before. She was a first timer this morning.
They don't have a lot of this in LA, do they? She's a Southern Cal grad, yes. Pretty cool. I mean, she's a Southern Cal grad, and now she's here at Georgia and now at Ohio State.
Yeah, covered Baylor and Texas.
Pretty cool.
She's been warm places her whole life.
Other than Baylor, she's covered some good. No, I'm kidding. So one of my good buddies is working at Ohio State Hospital. He had to leave. His name's Craig. He had to leave. Hopefully, Craig's listening. All right. And he had to leave at 5:50 this morning. And I wanted the scouting report, and like, I didn't want him to take videos as he was driving as the scouting report, but he did. He took videos on 70 as he's driving and then sent them to me. I'm like, dude, I don't need you taking videos like on the highway telling me how bad it is. But I did appreciate the scouting report.
We do not recommend that at all while you're out there.
No. I didn't even. Ryan Baker texted me like as I was leaving. I didn't even see it until like right before the show started. I hadn't looked at my phone in like an hour. But so. Arthur Smith, do we want to get? And I want to say this: everybody out there, you have no excuse not to call into the show. You guys aren't doing anything. Come on, call into the show 614-821-9710. Arthur Smith.
So
let's get into it.
Before we get there,
yeah.
I texted Bo yesterday, talking about Monday's Bishop and Friends. And I was like, there's so much stuff to talk about in the sports world right now. You've got the Dabo and Ole Miss stuff going on. If you haven't seen some of that, Dabo's going after Ole Miss, saying they're tampering with his players and this and that. We've got college basketball, bringing back G League players to play. And Alabama still gets beat last night. We got Mike McCarthy. This might be the most shocking thing in the world to me, that Mike McCarthy is the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm like, Bo, there's so much to talk about on Monday already, and we haven't even got to the NFL playoffs. And then we get the news last night that Arthur Smith, the former offensive coordinator, most recently of the Pittsburgh Steelers, former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, is going to be the new offensive coordinator for your Ohio State Buckeyes next season. And boy, did that set the Twitter world ablaze last night.
It did. It reminded me a lot, and if you're a Buckeye fan, you have to hope that it works out like this. It reminded me a lot of Matt Patricia last year. It was overwhelming, the people that were negative about the Matt Patricia hire as defensive coordinator. People would say things like, well, he was really bad as a head coach with the Lions. It's like, okay. How was Nick Saban as a head coach in the NFL? How was Urban Meyer as a head coach in the NFL? How was Steve Spurrier as a head coach in the NFL? And those guys were college head coaches. Patricia wasn't coming here to be head coach. I thought it was a good hire from the get-go. It was even better than I thought. I think this is a good hire. And furthermore, Matt Patricia came here to run Matt Patricia's defense. Arthur Smith is coming here to help Ryan Day run Ryan Day's offense. The defensive coordinator position is more important than the offensive coordinator position when you have an offensive-minded head coach. Is it still important? Of course it is. I think it's a good hire. You have a guy that's a former NFL head coach, former NFL offensive coordinator. Now, people are like, well, the Steelers weren't very good offensively. Do you guys know where the Steelers ranked as far as salary on offense the last 2 years? 32 out of 32. They had the cheapest offense in the entire NFL the last 2 years, the most expensive defense. So I don't know how much you put on Arthur Smith, and last time I checked, they still won the AFC North. So I think it's a good hire.
I am going to trust Ryan Day at this point with hiring coordinators because he's had a pretty good track record here. The Chip Kelly hire has worked out very nicely. Jim Knowles even was a good hire as the defensive coordinator, and we can look back in hindsight and try to poo-poo what Jim Knowles did, but Jim Knowles was really good. The Ohio State defense was the best in the country, and I still believe Jim Knowles is a top 5 defensive coordinator in college football. So that worked. Matt Patricia last year worked. And listen, we can all say anybody could have worked, right, with Arvell and Sonny and Caleb and the athletes that they had on those defense, but sometimes it's harder to coach those guys. And get them to all play together and have no egos and all of that. Matt Patricia worked, and I don't think anybody's picking on the Matt Patricia hire now. I liked the Chip Kelly hire. I liked the Matt Patricia hire. I do have some questions with Arthur Smith. Like I said, I am going to trust Ryan Day, but I do have some questions. We will get into that coming up next. We will also get to your calls. Nate and Jim, see you guys on the line. We will get to you next. It's the Fan Call-In Show on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Tri-State Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Tri-State Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. We have 2 convenient locations in the area to serve you in Hilliard and Westerville.
It's Timmy Hall and AI Common Man. Happy to ring in another year with our friends at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Hey, Mikey, do you want to be a millionaire? Hollywood is the place to do it.
From now until March 25th, you have the chance to win $1 million instantly. And here's something Mikey likey. All new brunch items at the Sportsbook Restaurant and Bar like Biscoff Stuffed French Toast, Country Benedict, or Roast Beef Hash Skillet. Yummy.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Matty Ice here. It's a new year, so why not start it off with a new car from McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion, where the savings are rolling all month long. You can lease a brand new 26 Chevy Equinox LT for just $279 a month for 36 months with $3,369 due at signing, or if financing is more your style, grab it for only $399 a month for 96 months with $1,000 due at signing. Terms and restrictions apply. They're just off Route 23095 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to grow and thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, and achieve great things. How do we do it? In the best way possible, by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities. And most importantly, by empowering youths and their families to get out of poverty and into employment through life skills, computer, and job training. The very tools they need to break the cycle of poverty and build futures full of promise. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full and best potential. Learn more about how Children International is empowering children and families by going to children.org today. That's children.org.
Join Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week, but not OJ because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-691-9999. That's 800-691-9999.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
And our Central Ohio M10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens. We're looking at continued heavy snow throughout the day Sunday. 10 TV Weather Impact Alert Day remains in place. Make sure you are staying safe and staying off the roads in this winter storm. Highs in the low 20s will drop down into the single digits overnight as snow comes to an end. Bitter cold air will continue throughout the week. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan. Back to the show of the fans, by the fans, and for those crazy fans. This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Yes, it is your show. We want to hear from you. 614-821-9710. You can also hit us up on the YouTube chat. We'll get to some of those comments over there in just a little bit. But let's head out to those phone lines now. Let's go out to Jim. Jim, thank you for waiting patiently and braving the storm with us on the Fan Call-In Show. How are you, Jim?
Well, I don't know. I could be in Florida, but the kind of son I am, I flew up here to help my mom during this snowstorm, and I'm letting her sleep in, and I'm out. I turned my DoorDash on. I'm out delivering food for Sheets. I just got stuck in this apartment complex. I feel like Ryan Day driving around calling plays. But other than that, listen, I'm going to let you guys go here real quick, but I will tell you this. I'm really excited about the season next year. It's going to be nice going into a season knowing every Saturday we got a football game. We got to show up every Saturday and play. And I'm really excited about that.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for the call. You call in just about every Sunday. We appreciate that, and a good son for you leaving sunny Florida and coming up here to help your mom and even delivering food to people. Why are people ordering food right now and making people go out and drive in this? I hope people are tipping big this morning.
You better tip really big. And this is like the reverse Scotty Vegas. Scotty leaves Ohio to go to Florida. He knew this was coming, Ryan. That's why he left.
Smart of him. It was very smart.
I did tell him. I did text him a couple days. I'm like, you picked a heck of a good weekend to get out of Dodge.
So, Dave, I will say this. Jim called us every Sunday during the football season, and even when everything was great with Ohio State, he had concerns every week about Ohio State and the play calling and the pass blocking and a lot of things. He had concerns every week in those final 2 games of the season. A lot of the things Jim had been saying all year came to fruition, unfortunately for us. So a good job by Jim with that. He mentioned Ryan. Go ahead.
I was going to say, he made a point about, the schedule. It's so salient. Everybody's talked about Ohio State's schedule in 2026, how tough it is. Let's illustrate that for a second. They came out with, at least The Athletic came out with their top 25 for next year. Of the top 25, Ohio State's going to play 6 teams in the top 18. 6 teams in the top 18. So they're going to play 1/3 of the top 18 teams in the country, and that's going to compose 1/2 of Ohio State's regular season schedule. I mean, that's a lot. 6 teams in the top 18, and that includes they have Oregon as the number 1 team. CBS actually has Ohio State at 1, Oregon 2, but they have Oregon up there. Texas is 5th. Indiana's up there. USC, Michigan's 14th, and then it was Iowa 18th. They're going to play 6 teams. Again, depending on the rankings, it might be 6 of the top 20, but according to this one ranking, Ohio State's going to play 6 of the top 18 teams in the country in the regular season. That's insane. And, but the good thing is if you're Ohio State, you go 10-2, you're a lock. You're an absolute lock with that schedule. You might even be able to get in at 9-3, but you don't want to take that chance.
In some of those tougher games on the road, Texas on the road, Indiana on the road, USC on the road. So a couple of big road trips there for Ohio State next year. We're talking about Arthur Smith, and if you hadn't heard the news, Ohio State has hired Arthur Smith. I believe it's official this morning. I believe it's all done now. Last night the reporting was they are hiring him. I believe that the deal is done and signed as of this morning. Arthur Smith is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes next season. And I mentioned I'm going to have faith in Ryan Day here. Because he's done a good job of hiring coordinators and coaches for the most part. But I do have some concerns. And he was the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. You mentioned the Steelers last in the NFL in spending on the offensive side of the ball. Here are some numbers from Arthur Smith. So he was the Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator in 2019-2020. Then he became the Atlanta Falcons head coach 21-22-23. In the last 2 seasons, he's been the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers this past season in total offense were 25th. Scoring offense, they were 15th. Rushing offense, which I think a lot of people, and Arthur Smith has proven, you want to run the football, they were 26th. In 24, they were 23rd in total offense, 16th in scoring offense, 11th in rushing offense. Now, when he was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, in 23, they were 17th in total offense, 26th in scoring offense, 9th in rushing. 2022, 24th in total offense, 15th in scoring offense, 3rd in rushing offense. 2021, 29th in total offense, 26th in points, 31st in rushing. And then the numbers with the Tennessee Titans were pretty good. And that Tennessee Titans team was really good. Obviously, they had Derrick Henry, 3rd in total offense, 4th in points, 2nd in rushing in 2020, 12th in total offense, 10th in points, and 3rd in rushing in 2019. One other thing here that concerns me a little bit with and some of those numbers aren't terrible, usually middle of the pack in scoring offense. Sometimes the total offense was a little low. The rushing offense was usually pretty good. One of the biggest complaints about this Ohio State team last season was we thought you had a football Ferrari. You had all these skill wide receivers. You had a couple of really skilled running backs, and you just wanted Ohio State to open it up. Well, if you thought Ohio State used a lot of 3 tight end sets this year, get ready, because I think you're going to get more of those next year with Arthur Smith, because Arthur Smith has always been a 2 tight offense, at least a lot of times more. And you mentioned Arthur Smith is coming here to help Ryan Day run the Ryan Day offense. But if Ryan Day was already doing these things and he's going to have Arthur Smith in his ear, you're going to see more of those. Now, we've talked about you can't hoard 4 and 5 stars anymore on your roster. You can't have 4 and 5 stars as your 2 and 3s anymore on your depth chart because it's just not the way college football works. So maybe Ohio State moving forward won't be built the way that team was last year, but next year you still have Jeremiah Smith, Chris Henry Jr., and Bo Jackson, and that seems like an offense that I want to get up and run.
And listen, I mean, Ohio State's the only team that made the CFP and one of the very, very few Power 4 teams overall, even the worst Power 4 teams in the country. Ohio State's one of the very few that has their quarterback returning, RB1 and wide receiver 1. Think about that. Starting quarterback, starting running back, best receiver. Ohio State's the only one that made the CFP that can say that, one of the very few Power 4 teams, period, that can say that. A couple things here. One of the things I like about Arthur Smith, in addition to his vast experience as an offensive coordinator and even having the experience as an NFL head coach. We talked about it earlier. Like, yeah, he wasn't a good NFL head coach. Neither was Matt Patricia. Neither was Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, Steve Spurrier. I just think that's a great thing to have on your resume. You were an NFL head coach for 3 years. I love that he has a background in offensive line. They needed to bring in somebody to be the offensive coordinator, I thought, that had an experience coaching offensive line. He was an offensive lineman in college at North Carolina. He broke into the business as, an assistant offensive line coach. I love that he has that in his background because I love that they have all these we talked about RB1, QB1, wide receiver 1 all coming back. How about like most of the offensive line coming back and they're veteran? You have 3 guys that played a ton and even started on the national championship team in Luke Montgomery, Carson Hinsman, and Austin Saraveld that are coming back. So I love that Arthur Smith has experience working with an offensive line. One more thing I'll say. You've touched on this a couple times, Ryan, and I totally agree. Like, I think if you're a Buckeye fan, you have a little trepidation here. I think trusting Ryan Day is the move here. I mean, you can do whatever you want because look what he's done with coordinators. He's made one bad mistake, Kerry Combs. But even before that, Jeff Hafley. People don't talk about how great of a hire that was. Like, he didn't think Jeff Hafley, no one even knew who Jeff Hafley was. If you're an Ohio State fan, you never heard of Jeff Hafley until he was hired as Ohio State defensive coordinator. They had a great defense in 2019. Nobody thought he was going to be one and done. Boston College head coach. Didn't do great at Boston College. That's a hard place to win. Ask Bill O'Brien, who was here as offensive coordinator for like 1 week. And then now Jeff Hafley is a head coach in the NFL. Ryan Day's done a great, you mentioned like Jim Knowles, people like kind of blow that off. It's like he turned a really bad defense into like the first year they were top 10 defense, and he turned them, by the time he was done, they were the number 1 defense in the country and won the national championship. Ryan Day has done a really good job hiring coordinators, with the exception being Kerry Combs. And you could say with the exception being promoting Brian Hartline. That's fair, because even though they weren't a bad offense this past year, they were really bad in short yardage and goal line situations. Previous year, Ryan, they were one of the best teams in the nation, short yardage and goal line. So we'll see. One of the great things about sports is we will find out for sure who's right. I think this is a good hire, perhaps a great hire for Ohio State.
It sure changes things when you've got Will Howard back there at quarterback in short yardage and goal line situations. I will say this, when we're talking about short yardage and goal line situations, quit taking 4 off the field.
Exactly.
Keep 4 on the field, please. Arthur Smith, if you're listening to the Fan Call-In Show right now, which I know you're not, but next season, never take 4 off the field.
And run the quarterback a little bit. You got to run it a little bit.
He's the best player in college football.
He doesn't need to be Lamar Jackson, but you got to run the quarterback in college football. It's proven. It's proven. You have to run the QB in college football.
614-821-9710 is the number to call. We want to hear from you. We will get to some of your YouTube comments coming up next. Talk a little bit more about Arthur Smith and the Steelers bids. They made a surprise hire as their head coach. We'll talk about that next. It's the Fan Call-In Show on the Fan.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad, and I feel very proud to be his son.
I was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little you are, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step,
Bella, let's go.
guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it. Ever want to be a radio star, or at least hear your voice on the air? Perhaps embarrass all your relatives. This is The Fan Call-In Show.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
And a big thanks to the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino for sponsoring the Fan Call-In Show. We want to hear from you. 614-821-9710 is the number to call. We've also got a lot of comments over on the YouTube chat today, Bids. I want to get to some of those. Nate, who I believe called in earlier and then had to jump off the line, he likes the hire of Arthur Smith. He said he thinks it's funny how people think because a guy isn't an elite coach in the NFL that he wouldn't coach circles around college coaches. I'll take an NFL guy every time. I think a lot of times if a guy can coach, he can coach regardless. And I think that maybe the one transition there is from college to the NFL. I think if you're an NFL guy, you can come down and coach college. But the college game, especially here at Ohio State, is more like the NFL than it's ever been. And we've seen since Ryan Day has been here, Ohio State trend more and more into an NFL model. Maybe that's because of the route college football and college athletics was heading. Maybe it's because of the expanded playoff, or maybe it's just because Ryan had coached in the NFL and saw things that he thought would work, that they could get an advantage here at Ohio State. But the two have never been closer. And again, I'll trust Ryan Day with his hires.
You know what this reminds me of? Like, it's not maybe apples to apples, but it's at least maybe apples to oranges. Still fruit, you know? It reminds me of what Nick Saban did at Alabama with his coordinators. You're like, oh, really? This guy, you know, he's kind of like lost the luster, you know? And then it turns out to be a great hire. You remember people like Sark is a good example, Lane Kiffin, although I think Lane Kiffin wasn't that good of an offensive coordinator. I still remember when Ohio State beat Alabama in the 2014 Sugar Bowl. He let Blake Sims throw the ball 36 times. And I think Derrick Henry got like 14 carries that game. I was up in the press box there in the Superdome like, thank you. Yeah, don't give it to that 250-pound beast that's just crushing it. Like, just, yeah, let the worst quarterback that I've seen at Alabama in a while just throw the ball. So, but the point is, yeah, Bill O'Brien was another one. He had guys coming in. It was like coaching rehab almost. Ryan Day's now doing that, you know. Chip Kelly, his stock wasn't very high. Boom. Ohio State 1 year. Now, did he do a good job with the Raiders? No. Did they pay him $18 million for a 3-year contract? Yes. So, like, he's doing a good job. And now people are like, Arthur Smith, oh, yeah, he's not very good. It's like, he's going to be the latest one. Matt Patricia, people wrote him off. They're like, oh, terrible hire. And then, well, can't find anybody calling that a terrible hire anymore. Everybody's saying it's either a great hire or a good hire. And I get it. People are like, well, he has like 4 first-round picks he was dealing with on the defense for Ohio State. I understand that. I still think Matt Patricia was a fantastic hire by Ryan Day. So, yeah, he messed up with Kerry Combs. Every other coordinator hire, unless you count like Brian Hartline, and I think Ryan Day was really calling most of the plays this year, Ryan. Unless you count the promotion of Brian Hartline, he's done a really good job hiring offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators.
Some more from the YouTube chat. Joe says, even by name, if this one doesn't pop out to me, I'm going to trust Ryan Day. And then Joe also says this. We were talking about the schedule with Ohio State next year. He says USC, Michigan, and Iowa are not going to be good next year. Now, I have my questions about USC. And I guess it's what do we say with good? Is Iowa going to be challenging for a Big Ten championship next year? No, probably not. But I think Iowa's always a tough team. And especially going there, that's always a hard game. Michigan was 8-4 this year. And their head coach was sliding into OnlyFans models DMs in the middle of the game.
They'll be good.
Kyle Whittingham, he is a good coach. He is. I don't think Kyle Whittingham was a home run hire. And any Michigan fan that tries to tell me that, I'm going to argue all the time, because if he was a home run hire, you would have hired him on December 13th, the day after he quit at Utah. But I think Kyle Whittingham is a stabilizing hire.
He's a ground rule double.
Michigan, and he's going to keep them competitive and afloat here for the next few years. So I think that take on Michigan not being good next year is not a good take.
And he's finally going to have a quarterback that gets drafted into the NFL. I had no idea that he never had a quarterback at Utah that was drafted, not even a 7th-round pick. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane?
Wow. Yeah, that is. I would have never guessed that.
That he brought in.
The last 8 years he's had Cam Rising. So.
I was going to say, that's what I've heard people say, that half his career he had Cam Rising. But I had no idea that throughout his head coaching career, he never brought in a quarterback at Utah. Obviously, they had Alex Smith when he was there with Urban, and Kyle Whittingham was Urban's defensive coordinator. It's still funny to think about. He took over for Urban Meyer at Utah. Urban was only there for 2 years. Yeah, that is strange, that he never had a quarterback at Utah that was an NFL draft pick.
Brad says Smith is an instant upgrade over Hartline at the OC position. And we've also got, I got to give him a shout out here, Chimdi Cheekwa's burner.
Chimdi Cheekwa.
I got to give him a shout out.
I almost said that you mispronounced it. I forgot about the clip.
He's a big New England Patriots fan. So his Patriots today going to play in the AFC Championship against the Denver Broncos. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Vrabel and Travion. I saw this morning, by the way. The Patriots lost week 1 to the Raiders. And that is the difference in home field advantage in today's game. And if the game was at Foxborough, they're going to have 10+ inches of snow today. So you would have had a snow bowl. And obviously you can get that in Denver a lot of times too, but you would have had a snow bowl today for the AFC Championship had the Patriots beaten the Raiders week 1 of the season.
Is there anything more American than football in the snow? I love it.
Listen, and you know this more than anyone, being a Bengals fan last year and losing to the Patriots in week 1. Week 1 games can matter at the end of the season.
Yeah, Ryan's talking about 2024. Yeah, the Bengals lost this.
Opener. Not this past season.
To a rookie head coach, a team that ended up being horrible, and that's when Scotty Vegas saw me lose my mind live on the air. We were doing a show live during that Bengals game, and yeah, they ended up losing to the Patriots. If they didn't lose to the Patriots, a terrible Patriots team. Their coach gets fired after 1 year. I think they were 3-14.
Yeah.
If the Bengals win that game at home, that was in Cincinnati, they would have made the playoffs. And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase were on a record pace. They put together this huge season. Now, that defense, man, that even with Lou Anarumo, they were a little bit better in 2024 than they were in 25 because the 25 defense was the worst in NFL history for most of the year. They still wouldn't have got far because of that defense, but they should have at least made the playoffs.
How about that, by the way? The Patriots and the Jaguars, both 3-14 last year. 14-13 this year, or 14-3 this year.
It goes to, coaching is important in every sport. We can agree about that. I've always said, coaching is by far the most important in football, though. By far the most important. And there was always the stars matter stuff in college football. Everybody knows stars matter. I've always said coaching matters even more. And listen, it's easy to say this now, but Curt Cignetti proves that more than anybody. More than anybody. You can say stars matter. Everybody knows recruiting matters. Coaching matters more in football. It's the old, I'll take my guys and beat your guys, or I'll take your guys and beat my guys. The old Bear Bryant. That's legit, though. Like, good coaches will actually do that.
I think Rick Bowness would like to talk to you right now, saying that coaching matters more in football than the NHL, but I do think you're right. The Columbus Blue Jackets on a little bit of a heater. Let's talk about coaching in the AFC North right now, because your Bengals, the only one.
The irony there.
Your Bengals, the only one bringing their head coach back next year. The Baltimore Ravens hired Jesse Minter this week. We get the news yesterday that the Pittsburgh Steelers are hiring Mike McCarthy, and I was shocked. That's not their MO. I was sure that the Steelers were going to hire Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams. Maybe they didn't want to wait. Maybe their plan at quarterback next year was so desperate that they have to have Aaron Rodgers back, and they thought this was the way to do it. But Mike McCarthy, a Pittsburgh native, going to be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we were talking off air. I actually like Mike McCarthy. I think he's a pretty good head coach. I'm just shocked that that's the way the Steelers went.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Very surprised. And, I guess the days of Steeler head coach always lasting 2 decades is probably over. I don't think Mike McCarthy's going to be coaching into his 80s. I'm with you, man. I don't think it's like a tragedy of a hire, but I was surprised, and I don't think it's a good hire. I'll be surprised if it's like, Steeler fans are thrilled about this, and everybody who wanted to get rid of Mike Tomlin's going to be like, should have been careful what I wished for.
Well, you should have been careful about that anyway, because Mike Tomlin's one of the best to do it. In the Pittsburgh Steelers, last weekend, on Browns weekend, they were interviewing Andrew Siciliano, who's been doing play-by-play for the Cleveland Browns on the radio. He said the Pittsburgh Steelers, since they won their last playoff game, in each of their playoff losses, they've been down in those playoff games by 21 points, at least at one point in those games. That, to me, said 2 things. One, that this Pittsburgh Steelers roster is really not that great of a roster right now. Like, they do not have a lot of talent on this team. And 2, the fact that they continue to make the playoffs, continue to be over 500, is just a testament to that organization and Mike Tomlin and the coaching job that he did.
Yeah, and I think if you're a Steeler fan, you kind of wish they would have, maybe gone into tank mode, roughly speaking. I mean, is it worth it to be, barely make the playoffs, or maybe not even make the playoffs but have a winning record? If they had a high pick, if they could get Mendoza, for example, he's going to be a Raider. That's what they need. I don't think they want to have 43-year-old Aaron. Maybe they do. This 43, and he didn't have a bad year by any means, and that might be their best option, but is 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers really the answer? I don't know.
I think it just shows how desperate you are. Now, maybe in the Steelers' mind, and I don't know if this is the case, and I would be shocked if it is, but maybe the Steelers think another year of Will Howard learning under Aaron Rodgers might be their answer moving forward. And we've talked about this before. Other than the elite strong arm, Will Howard checks every box of every winning Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback I've ever seen. And the 2 I'm talking about, I guess I never saw Terry Bradshaw, but Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger. Big physical dudes, maybe not the best athlete, but they can run, they're powerful, they can shake defenders off. Very smart and very good leaders. Follow me to freedom type dudes at that quarterback position. So Ben obviously had an elitely strong arm. Terry Bradshaw the same. I don't think Will quite has the arm strength that those guys did, but he ticks every box as a Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback.
He's a little too turnover prone. Even at Ohio, now he didn't do this in the playoff. He turned into Joe Burrow in the playoff. I'm not joking. You're reminding me, he was making throws that just reminded me of Joe Burrow. You couldn't have handed the ball off any better. And he would make just enough, plays with his legs. He's a better runner than Burrow. But during the regular season, it was every game there was 1 or 2 plays. I hate even saying this because I love Will Howard and I appreciate what he did. But to be real, there was 1 or 2 plays in every regular season game. You're like, oh gosh, what's he doing there? It wasn't always result in an interception, but there were some sketchy plays. And he was especially turnover prone at K-State. This shows how good of a quarterback's Coach Ryan did. Look at his now I know He's throwing to Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal. That helps. Emeka Egbuka, I get all of that. Look at his quarterback rating at Kansas State compared to his 1 year at Ohio State. Again, fifth-year senior Will Howard with all these weapons. I get it. It's almost not like a fair fight, but like he had such a good year compared to his career at Kansas State. And, the first time, Isaiah, that I heard the name Will Howard was Ryan Baker. Not that I even heard of, but coming to Ohio State, because there was like, well, okay, Kyle McCord's leaving. They're looking for a quarterback in the portal. There was all these names out there. All these names. Cam Ward was one of them. All these names. Not that he would have been a bad pick. And Ryan Baker was like, I think Will Howard might be a good fit. It was like 2 weeks later, Buckeyes got Will Howard, and last time I checked, it worked out pretty well for the Ohio State.
It did, and I might have just heard from a pretty reliable source who heard from a reliable source. So I won't give me all the credit. I just knew the right people that said that's a name to look for in Ohio State's quarterback search. But that'll be interesting. Listen, my dad will tell you that Terry Bradshaw would have been turnover prone had it not been for Lynn Swann and John Stallworth. So my dad always says that Terry Bradshaw was a creation of those two guys.
And Franco Harris.
I don't know if that's totally fair, but he will tell you that for sure. We still got room for you. 614-821-9710. Final segment of the Fan Call-In Show coming up next on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together, all of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. You think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a Bright Focus Foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
It's been a real journey since 2014 when I first had my injury. I realized that my home was just not working for me and that it was time to ask for help. Homes for Our Troops is really giving me my life back. The shower allows me to go in and turn around with my chair, pull down storage racks, automated door systems, hours of my morning given back to me. Adaptive sports are a huge part of my life, a huge part of my healing journey as well. Homes for Our Troops helped with making sure that I had a home gym so that I can continue to train. This past year, I was able to host Thanksgiving in my home. And it was the first time I was able to have my whole family in one place and I was able to contribute to the meal. There are a lot more veterans in need, and Homes for Our Troops is going to be there to help them too.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, ooh, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
Hey, Central Ohio, it's Andrew from Home Team Solutions. And yes, we buy houses for cash the easy way. We've been buying houses for over 20 years, and we've seen it all. Whether you've inherited a property, you're behind on payments, the house needs work, or just want to avoid the hassle of listing, we've got you covered. No repairs, no clean out, no stress, just a fair cash offer and you pick the closing date. We've helped hundreds of homeowners sell fast and hassle-free, and we're proud to have 5-star reviews all across Central Ohio and an A+ rating with the BBB. If you're ready to sell your house the easy way, call Home Team Solutions at 614-962-SELL. That's 614-962-7355, or visit us online at selltohometeam.com. Home Team Solutions, local, trusted, and family-owned. Again, that's 614-962-SELL. 614-962-7355 or selltohometeam.com.
It's Timmy Hall and AI Common Man. Happy to ring in another year with our friends at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Hey, Mikey, do you want to be a millionaire? Hollywood is the place to do it.
From now until March 25th, you have the chance to win $1 million instantly. And here's something Mikey likey. All new brunch items at the Sportsbook restaurant and bar like Biscoff stuffed French toast, country Benedict, or roast beef hash skillet. Yummy.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Your kids and spouse might not listen to you, but we will. This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
We probably do have time for one more call if you want to get yours in. 614-821-9710 is the number to call. 614-821-9710. And Bids, we haven't even talked about this, but if you want to call in, we'll probably take your call on the money too.
For sure.
If you want to have time. So 614-821-9710. We just saw, we talked about Nicole Sheeran driving in this snow for the first time. We're looking at our TV right now. We're not sure where they are, but they can't be far because they didn't leave that long ago. Her and Adam King are somewhere shoveling snow right now, and they just put the old measurement, the yardstick or ruler, whatever they had there, in the snow. And wherever they are, it is at 7 inches. So the snow has come down quite a bit here, as the weather people have predicted, and we've still got it coming pretty good. You mentioned we got here about, I got here about 7. You got here about 7:30. Cars are already covered again. It doesn't even look like we drove them.
I was going to say, I went out and looked at my car, your car, Isaiah's truck. It looks like it's been, our cars have been here overnight already. It looks like, there are, I mean, it's pretty crazy out there. Be safe. Are we at level 2 snow emergency in Franklin County? Or are we still level 1?
Level 2 in Franklin County, and there are some level 3s out there. They're showing the snowfall total now.
Hilliard, 8 inches.
And that's what we said. Earlier it said 6, and we were like, no, we think it was 8. Gahanna's got 8. Bexley 7, 7.5 here at the radio station, 7 in Sunbury and Delaware. So it is coming down. Be careful out there for sure. If you have to go anywhere, you should probably just stay inside and listen to the Fan or watch 10 TV all day long. It looks like, Bids, we do have one final caller here that we are going to get to. So let's go out to line 1. Let's go to Terry. Hey, Terry. Good morning. Thanks for calling the Fan Call-In Show.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing good, Terry. How are you?
Good. So I'm calling from Missoula, Montana right now. I listen to the station every single day, and it's one of the best stations out there. So what I wanted to call and talk about was I attended my first Ohio State Buckeye game ever this past season when UCLA came. And what all I want to say is what a great environment. The fans are first class, unlike the team up north. But what a great environment, and I can't wait until next season with Ryan Day, and hopefully Arthur Smith works out, which I think he will. But I just wanted to say go Bucks. Great station. Love listening to you guys every single morning.
Terry, real quick, before you go, while we've got you on the phone, I don't believe this storm affected you guys in Montana, did it? Are you guys good?
We are currently good right now. We have maybe less than an inch of snow right now, but to be honest with you, we haven't even had 6 inches of snow this winter so far.
But in Missoula, you guys are used to 8 inches of snow, right? This is nothing for you guys.
Yeah, this is nothing. We had a total accumulation of 3 feet last year, so I'm welcoming this with open arms, big time.
Well, Terry, thanks so much for taking the time to call in and listening to the show, even though you're in Montana. Love that you got to go to your first Buckeye game and experience that. Bids, you know this, and you've been a lot of places. There may be some that are as good, but there's none better than the shoe.
I agree. I mean, I'm a little bit biased to say the least, but I think, I just think I love it. I love it when they did the massive renovation from 99 to 2000, that they kind of kept the architectural integrity of the place while modernizing it. And they're going to do a lot more. Ross Bjork has a lot of items on his agenda. I love the Horseshoe, and people are like, oh, maybe they should tear it down and build a new one. No, incorrect.
We've heard a lot the past couple years too about the game environment, and it's not great in the shoe. The fans haven't been loud and this and that. I was at a handful of games this year, and obviously the Texas game, right? That's huge. It's always going to be big, no matter where you play that game between those two teams. But I was also at the Grambling game this year, and I thought when the fans needed to be loud, they were loud. I thought they were into it. I had not been to a game in the shoe since the CJ game against Michigan State, where they just whooped them 49 points in the first half and just blew Mel Tucker and Kenneth Walker off of the field. So it had been a while. I had no complaints with the atmosphere in the shoe this year.
And we saw it when they hosted Tennessee in the playoff game, like how great that was. They're a little hamstrung by the fact that you have so many noon games, and there is it's a little bit turned into a little bit too much of a wine and cheese crowd, a little bit, not like Michigan level by any means. That's the ultimate wine and cheese crowd. But, yeah, I mean, we saw in that Tennessee game in the playoffs, the possibility of and I've seen so many games at the Horseshoe over the years where you can't even hear yourself think. It's a little bipolar. There's some games where it's like, oh, this is not a good atmosphere. And there's sometimes it's just like, this is like maybe the best atmosphere in college football. So I'd like to see it a little more consistent, but it's hard when you're playing so many noon games.
Thanks to everybody that called in this morning or chimed in on the YouTube chat. We're not going anywhere. You shouldn't either. On the Money, coming up next on The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes.